So just a guess here, but I reckon there's probably not been a huge demand for fitness trackers so far in 2020. I know I certainly don't want to know my own personal step count when basically my daily walk involves shuffling to the toilet and back about 5 times a day. But now that we're slowly starting to emerge outdoors again, I can certainly see fitness trackers being popular in the second half of the year, especially as, let's face it, some of us will need a bit of extra help burning off that lockdown flab from all of the boozing and comfort eating. And the good news is, if you fancy a fitness tracker of your own, there's no need to spend much money at all. Just 25 quid will bag you this here Realme Band, which is about the same sort of price as the likes of the Honor Band and plenty of other rivals. I've been testing out the Realme Band for a full week now to see if it really is a worthy rival to the Honor Band 5. So here's my in-depth Realme Band review, and for more on the latest greatest tech, please do plug, subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! So like other fitness bands, the Realme Band sports a very discreet design. It's super lightweight, it's around 30 grams, you'll barely even feel it when it's slapped there on your wrist. And compared with many fitness bands, it's impressively slender as well. A lot of them are quite chunky monkeys, but this one barely juts up above your arm at all. And those comfort levels are aided by the soft silicone strap as well, which you can actually grab in 3 different colours. This is the green, you can get it in a nice vibrant yellow, otherwise also a standard black if you want something that's going to go with basically any kind of outfit, or you're just embracing your inner goth. And the Realme Band is also IP68 water and dust resistant, so you can leave it slapped on your arm when you're busy doing lengths or just sinking into a nice hot bubbly bath. Now, like the Honor Band 5, the Realme Band rocks a screen that's just under an inch in size, so it's definitely teeny. Don't be fooled by the black backgrounds, there's definitely some very thick bezel action going on around here. So if you do find you struggle with some of that smaller text, then you might not want to look at a fitness band. To be honest, you might be better off with a smartwatch, something like the Realme Watch maybe, which costs £50, offers that bigger display. Now it may be dinky, but at least that text is nice and legible. There's no problem with the resolution or anything, and the colours are actually quite punchy as well. The only problem is there's no always on display option, but thankfully the raise to wake does work perfectly well. As for the actual display brightness, well, I found it was just about strong enough for me to clearly see what was going on the Realme Band when I was outside in strong daylight, although I did occasionally have to give the screen a bit of a wipe first, get some of that finger grease off. And if you want to change any of these settings on the Realme Band, you can't do it through the actual band itself. You'll have to dive into the Realme Link app and then do it through that instead. That's where you'll be able to fiddle with the likes of the screen brightness, the raise to wake feature and the do not disturb. And in here you'll also be able to change up the watch face on your Realme Band as well, although unfortunately it's a rather meagre selection. You've literally got 5 to choose from, and that's it. So compared with something like the Honor Band 5, definitely a lot more limited. And it's a very basic interface, which is kind of necessary really, because you don't actually have a touch screen display here. You've just got this one little touch sensitive area down beneath, which you can use to cycle through all the various menu options. Then if you actually want to select something, you just long press. So let's move on to the fitness tracking, and there are actually 9 different types of exercise that you can track using the Realme Band. You've got runs, walks, hikes, yoga, generic fitness, cycling, spinning, and completely randomly cricket. That cricket mode was apparently added just for us Brits as well. Got to admit, I personally can't remember the last time I buffed my stumps, so to speak. But if you like whacking balls with a great big stick, then good news. But annoyingly, you can only store 3 of these exercise options on the Realme Band at any one time. If you want to put a different one on there, you'll have to go into the app, swap out one of the old ones and put a new one in its place. And during the workout, you'll get a readout some very basic information as well. How long you've been going for, your BPM and your maximum BPM, and also how many calories you've burned. Now, I've got to say, the readout on the calorie burn was incredibly pessimistic on the Realme Band, about half of what I was getting from other devices I was using for comparison purposes at the same time. So basically, after about an hour's sweaty aerobicizing, I apparently just burned enough calories to justify a small muffin. And I guess if nothing else, at least it's strong motivation to do more exercise. And if you like, you can also have the Realme Band bossing you into getting up off your arse, drinking more water, things like that, although personally I shut that shit off straight away. And a lot of other features that you'd expect from a modern fitness band are present and correct here on the Realme Band, including of course a good bit of 24-hour heart rate monitoring. And of course you can dive into that Realme Link app at any time, and the band and the app stay synced at all times, so you can get a real-time readout of your heart rate over 24 hours, your current step count, things like that. Again, it's fairly basic stuff compared with some rivals from the likes of Garmin, but it'll do the job if all you want is a basic motivational tool to get out and get active. And you've got some simple sleep tracking on there as well, pretty much a mandatory feature these days. Although again, very, very basic, just tells you how much light sleep and deep sleep you've apparently had. It doesn't actually tell you when you've woken up during the night, as I definitely did last night. I certainly didn't have 9 hours of sleep, that's for sure. That's a bit optimistic. And I'm not really sure how much use any of this information is, but there you have it, it's there if you want it. And you also get a basic bit of notification notification support as well, with full customization so you can choose exactly which apps will buzz your wrist to let you know that something is happening. Although, of course, it is very basic. Remember, it's a very titchy screen, so there's only a tiny bit of information you can actually get at any one time. It can only show you one notification, so if you get a few things buzzing through all at once, then a load of it will get lost in the fog. So I'd say it's definitely not a feature that you can depend on. Besides all that, you also get a Find My Phone feature and a stopwatch, which works absolutely fine as you would expect. But that's it. There's no media controls, so unfortunately if you listen to a podcast or music or whatever on your phone, you can't pause it or skip a track or whatever via the Realme Band. As for the battery life, well, it's comparable here on the Realme Band to most other rivals from the likes of Honor and Fitbit. You'll get around 5 to 6 days of full use with the screen brightness turned right up, lots of fitness tracking going on, 24-hour heart rate monitoring and everything as well before it will need a recharge. And when you want to charge it back up again, there's no fiddly docks or anything like that, thankfully, although you do have to yank this bit of the strap out from the top of the Realme Band, which is quite awkward. And then you'll see that cleverly reveals the bit that you need to shove it into a USB port in order to get the Realme Band charged back up again. You can then shove that straight into any plug adapters you've got lying around, or otherwise directly into the USB port of a laptop. So that right there is my full review of the Realme Band, and personally I've got to say I do prefer the Honor Band 5. That UI has had a bit more time to develop and improve, but Realme is definitely one to watch as far as affordable wearables go. I can definitely see them being strong competition really soon. So it'd be great to hear your own personal thoughts down below in the comments. If you've used any fitness trackers recently, definitely be great to hear your thoughts on those as well. Which one is your preferred brand? And for more on the latest greatest tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers!